For this project, we're going to be talking about perspective. And in this particular project, we're going to be making some floating boxes and also an interweaving element to kind of talk about again how things move in and throughout a design. So we're going to be creating these three-dimensional box or cube forms by using the rules of perspective. This is how you get started. So step one on our practice, we create a horizon line. A horizon line is simply the line that divides on a landscape the land from the sky. And if we're doing 1-point perspective, somewhere on that horizon line, we're going to put a dot or a vanishing point. Okay, so we have a horizon line and a vanishing point. Perspective is not a hard technique to use as long as you follow 4 simple steps. And perspective is a good way for artists to create space or depth in their project. It makes their project or their design look more three-dimensional. It looks like it goes back into space. It creates depth. Okay, so the 4 steps that we're going to be talking about today are, first of all, draw a square or rectangle on your paper. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to draw a square or rectangle. I'm going to switch to a pencil because I will be erasing quite a bit using perspective. Our second step for this project, we're also going to create some cylinders. So you need to also, besides a square rectangle, you'll need to create a circle. You can use a template to create a circle on your paper. Now these are simple shapes. We need to make these three-dimensional. So our next step will be corner to dot. That simply means that you're going to go from the corner of the shape to the vanishing point. So I'm going to use a ruler. I'm going to line this up, draw a corner to dot line. These are called converging lines because they converge or come together at that vanishing point. So this is how you create a three-dimensional form, step 2, corner to dot. Now I'm not going to draw from this corner to the dot because I'd have to go through the box and I can't see that, so there's no reason to draw that line. Okay, so this is corner to dot for a square, but now we have a problem because our circle has no corner. So instead of thinking of a corner, you want to think of the outside, the very outside edge of the circle. You're not going to go to here. That's not the outside edge. This is the outside edge of the circle. So I'm going to line up the outside edge of my circle, again, to the vanishing point. Instead of thinking of it as corner to dot, you're thinking of it as edge to dot. So now I create this. It looks like a spotlight. Okay, so these look like they go back into space forever. In order to make our box look like a box where it ends in the back, we need to do the next step, which I like to call rolling ruler, because you're going to take your ruler, lay it along this vertical line, and you're always going to think parallel. Parallel means that the line in the front and the line in the back have to be equal, the same, never touching. If they continued on, they would never touch. Think of the sides of the ruler, they're parallel. So I'm going to take front edge of my ruler, and then I'm going to roll that ruler, keeping it perfectly vertical, over as large as I want that box, and then I draw a second line. This is the back side of the box, front, back, these 2 lines parallel. I'm going to put my ruler along the top edge, and I'm going to move that straight up until I come to my back corner. I make sure that the ruler is horizontal, just like this line is horizontal. These 2 lines are staying parallel. Now I've created my three-dimensional cube or form in perspective. To do the circle or into a cylinder, I have to think parallel. So I look at this curved line and I continue and echo that same curved line, however long I want that cylinder to be, but I'm going to simply draw that curved line again in the back. So this and this would be parallel. Once I complete that, then I go to step 4, which is erase. I would have to erase these converging lines that I no longer need. That's why it's always so important to draw lightly for this project. Okay, So that is how you would create three-dimensional forms using the 4 steps of perspective to create depth in your project. You can do this again above the horizon line. It'll just simply look like your shapes are floating. And if you want to try something a little more challenging, instead of these shapes, you might even try something like a triangle. Again, using your ruler to make sure everything's nice and straight. I'm just going through these fairly quickly. Corner to dot, corner to dot, corner to dot. I can't do this one. I really can't see much there, maybe just a little bit. And then I'm going to do my rolling ruler to make this three-dimensional. Same thing here, I think parallel. This line is horizontal, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to create the back side of this horizontally. And this side is diagonal, so I'm going to have to move my ruler straight over, keeping it parallel, and then I add that second back line. Now I have a pyramid shape. Okay, so that is how you use the 4 steps to create three-dimensional shapes in perspective.